It's time to address the elephant in the room. No, Galaxy Gas will not be allowed at Launders LAN 2. That's right, unfortunately. Here comes Fun Police. All right, Ryan Garcia, this is yay. Where did nitrous? No nitrous, no Galaxy Gas at Launders LAN. Do we have to say it? Can I just go and look at this post? What is this? At the UB Smash Club, Buffalo's premier Super Smash Bros. College Club. I can't believe I had to make this announcement. Absolutely no Galaxy Gas is allowed at the local. What is happening in America? What is happening, folks? No, don't bring Galaxy Gas to Launders LAN 2, okay? Launders LAN 2, first weekend of January is what we're looking at. Still scouting the venue as it stands. An announcement video will be coming up soon, but getting that organized right now. So that's why I've been a little bit more quiet on YouTube. But of course, I had to make a video in lieu of this news. What's happening right now? Welcome cadiaN to ASTRALIS. Now, this is obviously such a ridiculous move for so many reasons, right? On the one hand, you have the fact that ASTRALIS are signing a third member of Heroic, okay? And we're talking about Heroic, who, you know what I mean? Every time they sign a new player from Heroic, this is ASTRALIS, okay? This is nuts because there was an incident where cadiaN got into a fight at an event with Glaive as they're talking shit to each other, and the shit talk went too far. You have the whole Heroic situation with Hunden and, well, allegedly stealing strats and a whole almost lawsuit, as well as benching, as well as allegations coming out with all the Heroic guys, and ASTRALIS CEO calling them out, Glaive saying, if you didn't cheat, just say it, and everything. No way that this is the bridge that gets built, right? On its face, this is absurd in a good way. Look at this devil emoji. I'm hyped for this. I can't lie to you, because if this was cadiaN opping on ASTRALIS, I would say, fuck this. Terrible move. If it was opping in CS2, cadiaN is not good enough to op in CS2 unless he improves. It's still early, but from what we've seen, it's not good enough to op in Tier 1 in CS2. In CSGO last year, when we did the top 20 list on this channel, which is coming up again this year, and releasing that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but it'll actually happen after the major this time since we end on December 15th. So that might be special. But anyways, last year when I did my list, I had cadiaN inside of top 20 or just around it. And I think the year before, just outside of it. And I gave him props because I said that, you know, he's calling for a team in the top 5 who picked up a big win here and there, who picked up Washington in 2023. That was their big LAN win, and then plus their online things in the years before, as a roster that didn't really have a clear star, sort of like what NAVI is right now. And with cadiaN being the opera for the team, but is not elite like Shiro, Zaiwu, Simple, all the players of the past that he was competing with who are in the top 5 on top 5 teams. So I want to say that as a caller, I give him mad props. As an opera in CSGO, gave him decent prop, but I don't think he was that. Obviously, could have been better, could have been someone else better on the team, but it's more impressive that his team was doing so well, despite the fact that he was just around top 20 or outside of it, primary opping with that game. Now, of course, every once in a while, you get a cadiaN clutch, that's 1 in a million, right? Somehow this guy every year has a shot at the best 1v5 you've ever seen, but his overall performances on a macro statistical level, not that great. And in CS2 fell off drastically. So in my opinion, you bring him into this lineup. And also I'd like to say that there's been a little bit of drama around ASTRALIS because they didn't give Bro a proper goodbye. Bro obviously is on the lineup. He's somebody who isn't as popular as so many other players. He came from Monty, who made waves at the Paris major alongside Demka, Waro, Krasnal, those guys, and then got the chance to play on ASTRALIS after replacing Blame F, which everybody called doom on ASTRALIS when that happened. And then what happened? ASTRALIS actually were decent after, which is crazy considering the stats discrepancy and the role discrepancy and the brand value discrepancy between those two players. So you have to hand it to Bro. He kept things afloat. I thought he was very solid as a support player for the team, but I think that the problem still lies with Device calling, not his opping. We're very glad to see Device back opping, but as a caller, some of these rounds are too loose, you know? When you look at the Heroic pair that were on the team, Stown and Jabby, they're still doing Heroic stuff. You saw it. You see them in rounds working together, sneaking around the map, stabby, you know what I'm saying? They are still doing Heroic stuff because that stuff was good. I think that stuff was good. And now with the sort of final head of the Hydra, right? 3 of the most impactful players overall statistically from that team. Shout out to Shush one time though for being an anchor. Best anchor. Love Shush. Imagine Shush on ASTRALIS. Anyways, cadiaN, Jabby, Stown as a core with a philosophy that worked at one point with players who are very talented, and maybe Stown's a cadiaN merchant, man. Maybe he needs cadiaN's calling. You know, when they started calling and co-calling together on Heroic, Stown said cadiaN is like, he's a bit of me. He said, what he calls, that's the exact style that I like. like. So that heroic project makes sense, you know? And there's a lot of frauds lately, but sometimes what we found out is that it is a team game and these people need each other, okay? Not every combination of good players can work. It goes beyond the stats a bit. There's so much more to it. We want to reduce it to just good player, good team. It really isn't like that sometimes. So maybe it's nice that they'll have a reunion. Now, when they split, of course, Stown said that the truth will come to light. cadiaN said, hey, everything that was said was true. This was a backstab situation. So if it's water under the bridge, amazing. But if it starts to come back up, if you start to see the spines of the crocodile over the crest of the horizon just coming towards you, you know, I don't know, maybe this team blows up emotionally. But if it isn't going to be like that and they can put the past behind them because they all want to win together, I actually think this could be good with Device focusing on the op and cadiaN calling in Danish again with players that he knows how to call for. So provably good once upon a time, that core. We will be there. We will be there. I don't have a promise for anybody as to whether or not this will work. I can say it's another situation where I'm excited for it. I also thought that the last liquid iteration with cadiaN should have worked, but I think genuinely that one comes down to cultural differences between Zeus and Skulls. That came down to underperformances from players like Yakinder. It came down to, it felt like dissent amongst the players with the IGL and cadiaN, even though he had a system that really worked. So there's obviously, that's another situation where it's like on paper, they did nail their roles and they got some good quality players in the previous teams. Coming together doesn't work. I think this time will be better. And I think maybe the key thing is that they're all Danish. Racism for life. Okay, currently game going on right now. Let me go ahead and get an update for you. Live update. It is going to map 3 because G2 just beat NAVI, at least on this map. And I was going to say that NAVI are on a bit of a rampage at the moment. They just absolutely mob spirit. You saw like Copenhagen Major, you know, the difference from then. You remember that IMA performance from the Copenhagen Major was absolutely atrocious. But now you have IMA, who I think Mirage map 2 was so good that with him and JL like being as consistent as they are and this whole team ramping up, they are definitely in a really good place. Spirit got destroyed. There's a lot of fraudulence happening at ESL Pro League at the moment between Spirit, between Complexity doing all that and then losing to Liquid, getting absolutely mopped, to M80. M80 had a good run, you know, but they actually didn't beat that many good teams. They just had a very good run in terms of amount of wins, and I think we could have seen more from them, but it was good what we saw. At least they beat Complexity, Imperial Fnatic here, and they lost to MIBR, who MIBR got absolutely raffle stomped just now by Eternal Fire, who once upon a time were Internal Fire. They look hot. So I think M80 decent, you know, I mean, good wins, like they're coming up, but there's still some more work to do, some more to prove. And I saw a tweet from Lake that said, this is pretty good. You know, we had a pretty good run for what it's worth. And it's like, yeah, it's okay. You know, I think I want to hold all NA players and everybody who's even Sin and Slacks or German brothers, everyone to a higher standard. Where I was talking to JW at the GeoGuessr World Cup, if you guys just watched that, and he was like, I hate when I see players in interviews give credit to the other team for playing well, because if you really believed in yourself, why would you ever do that? You know, those are words from a competitor, right? And I think anything that sounds like you're okay or complacent when you're not at the top, it really makes you wonder how that person will ever get to the top, right? Because everybody knows you've got to want it, and then you've got to do all the work to get it. So if you already hear someone say, not bad, progress, it makes you wonder, are they ever going to be number one? Because that's what their fans are hoping. So anyways, 2 cents on that. M80 though, going the right direction. Zeus returns as Sky Fury coach. Prosto, I think it was pronounced. It disbanded 4 years ago. There was actually something where someone cheated against them in a qualifier, I'm pretty sure. And then they lost a very important game. I think Yakinder used to be on that lineup, and then he ended up getting his opportunities after that. And Zeus now is leading a Ukrainian lineup. And Zeus is a legend of the game, obviously. If you guys remember this tweet, I am not going to give up before I win a motherfucking major. He tweeted this in July 2016, okay? To do that in July 2016 was brave, because people were going to remember it and you want to hold yourself to it. But again, this is being a competitor, right? This is him saying, I'm literally not going to give up until I make it happen. And when did he win a major? After he got cut from NAVI, right? You could have never pictured this guy on NAVI. He literally still has NAVI OG in his bio, and he ended up winning a major with Gambit. Unreal. Their last tweet was in 2022. Him and these guys right here ended up winning the major, Krakow, in 2017 with Zeus as the IGL. One of the most unlikely runs. ones, you know? Unlikely, like Cloud9 winning Boston, NAVI winning Copenhagen. Doesn't make it less amazing. It was amazing, but it was unlikely. Yeah, they lifted the trophy. I believe that some of the Kazakh guys were greeted by the president at the airport on their way home, like a red carpet entrance. It's very special times. So it's cool to see a legend like Zeus back in the game as a coach, and now trying to do it for a Ukrainian team, because he hasn't actually done that before. Well, besides working with NAVI and still achieving things with NAVI. It's not that he didn't achieve anything, but he won his major with Gambit. So Zeus back. Yeah, and this is unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate they had to play against each other, man. It's unfortunate they had to play against each other, and Roland from Poland, bro, is just on another level, man. He was 40 and 19 over the 2 maps. Complexity got 9 rounds in total over those maps. Complexity looked good up until their game versus Liquid. Look, they beat FaZe, they beat Mouse, they beat ASTRALIS. Mouse and ASTRALIS twice. These are really, really strong wins. I mean, you have to play so many damn games too, right? This is enough wins to win you a tournament. Like, you could have cut off here and played 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 matches. Like, depending on the tournament you played in, you could have already won. But because Pro League goes on forever, you know, it's not, you got to keep winning into playoffs. And those are single elimination losses. And it happens to be the Liquid of all teams, who then go on to get destroyed themselves by G2. So, okay, we move on. What can you say? Maybe they'll get better, maybe they won't. But those were quality wins. Gotta give them some quality wins. Bleed bench NEXA after 2.5 months. I'm only making this because everybody was at me saying, Launders was right. Launders must be so happy. Launders been waiting for this day for months. No, man, I didn't make any prediction, okay? When he got benched from G2, I tweeted about his performance because that was just the reality of the situation. I wasn't tweeting about how good he would be one day. I wouldn't tweet about him falling off. I also don't take pleasure in someone losing their real life job as well. So I also think that Bleed aren't really a functional team, honestly. They didn't even qualify to the major. They get a lot of attention, of course, because Kassad is managing the roster, and they have made good signings. Like, they actually have made good signings for being a tier 2 lineup. It's just that they're not functional in terms of like they're consistently performing or anything like that. And just because you're in tier 2 doesn't mean that it's easy to perform just because you played in tier 1. So I don't think that means anything necessarily about NEXA in general. But yeah, his last bit of time in tier 1 wasn't great. His time on Bleed obviously hasn't worked out, but there will always be room for a player like NEXA to play, especially with this much CS2 and tier 1 experience. So all the best. Okay, Niko and Ropz both had some words to say about CS2 and the state of the game, just pointing out that they're not happy about it. Ropz said that he tries not to think about it because it's kind of depressing for him. Niko here saying, I'm pretty disappointed in the development of CS2, sad with the new game, make a step back, 2 steps forward. Instead of 2 steps forward, it has been a year without a major improvement with the gameplay, a lot of bugs, anti-cheat, still not in a good state. I'm not sure how much Niko's playing like Premier or anything like that. And actually, you know, after people, there was so much cheating going on, no one was really, everyone stopped sort of playing in the game, even though it felt like CS2 would be different. But what it sort of feels like to me is that we'll have the same destiny as CSGO, right? I mean, I think it's fair to say that CS2 is way better than CSGO when that game came out. But because of subtick and the absolute limitations of it, you know, you wonder if movement will ever be good enough to be like, for KZ to be good again, or for Surf or anything else to be like really, really popular or thriving. And without those things, can't really keep my attention. So we'll see. I also understand that subtick itself can be improved. Anti-cheat can be improved, but it's a constantly moving target because it's an FPS game. Valve have just released Deadlock, and I mean, let's not lie to ourselves. That's going to tie up resources of the company. I don't know. Valve are a company who have quality employees only, and I don't think they have the bandwidth to develop everything equally. There will be some people who, they're humans in there. I'm sure they're going to be interested in making Deadlock, and a lot of the Counter-Strike people could be valuable as well. So I don't know if they feel like they got CS2 to a place where it's really solid now, or what they feel. But the core game is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's bad or anything. I mean, it feels, some ways still feels really good. For me, it's the community servers. It's releasing the scripting support for people to make community maps that they made in CSGO to the same level, you know, for like YPRAC to flourish, for the KZ community to flourish. That's what we need. That's what we're waiting for. But until then, people will continue to play CSGO and CS 1.6 KZ. So whatever, Valve, whatever. Yeah, Roland from Poland. What a signing, man. His time on Liquid so far has been outrageously good. There's just no other way to view it. I mean, pretty incredible for a guy that can stay this consistent through a honeymoon, through impressively difficult opponents to learn. What a fast learner Mr. Roland is. Roland Tomahawk. What a scout by a twist. But thing is, for Liquid, they still technically aren't winning anything. So I know that sounds harsh, but at the end of the day, lots of teams will make playoffs, 8 every event. Lots of teams will win lots of group stage games, like Complexity, winning 6 or something. But if you don't end up closing out the tournaments that you attend, then you're no better than every other loser. All right. And I think someone like Twist knows that. I don't think Kinder has ever won a LAN event in his career. So there are definitely some things here where things will get sour with these players if they don't start winning eventually. And I mean, it's awesome to have good results overall. Absolutely. But the standard for this lineup at this point, what they can see in themselves and based on the wins that they've already had, including beating NAVI twice in their debut, is to win events. Yes, it's early, but trust me, the last Liquid lineup fell apart fast, and they had a very promising lineup of players as well, even though the results weren't quite as close. So the rank 7 in the world right now, that could all change. Shanghai will sort of say everything for a team like Liquid. I think a full season of development, wins and losses, that, you know, that should be a top 8 at Shanghai is what I think they're looking for. Or maybe a win. If NAVI could win the Copenhagen major and the first CS2 major, Liquid can win the second and pair with their nice TI win of this year. Okay, make Blitz proud. All right, thanks for watching. That's been news of the week. Or more information on Launders LAN 2. Make sure you were listening to this video with the best CS2 headphones in the market. ASON code Launders for 10% off. I will see you at the Blast Fall final this week in Copenhagen at the Forum. You could say hi in person, and stay tuned as well for, we've got 2 more Boxer collabs with some very big players that you may have known, well, you do know in Counter-Strike. So working on a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff, but I haven't forgot about YouTube. Going hard on YouTube. See you soon.